Hello, beautiful sight, isn't it? It's a brand new season, brand new league, brand new players. Premier League, fantastic. Brand new show as well. No longer Up the Boro TV. We are RedArmy.tv, and it's the first show of the Premier League season.
Stand the Holgate end and sing a Sunderland song and not get clipped for it, which I did, just for the fun of it, you know.
Today I think the score's going to be 2-0. Mortimer Ramirez, up the Boro.
Come on, Boro, we can beat these Saturday.
Come on, lads, believe, come on!
So it's all new then. RedArmy.tv was Up the Boro TV. New season. Premier League is upon us. John Donovan, 12th man. Ian Elcock, Tad Web Solutions. Two big Boro fans, I know. Welcome to the programme. We'll get into Stoke City. We'll get into everything that is the Premier League. But John, apologies. I've ripped off your Facebook page in this first episode in the Premier League because there was a fantastic piece on there from Bob Mortimer. Big Boro fan, of course, Bob. We've got to start off by having a look at it. Here is the crazy man that is Boro fan Bob Mortimer.
Hello there, how are you doing? Nice one, Chaw. You're joking, aren't you? All right, it's a new season in the Premiership with the Boro back where they belong. It's a source of great pride and great optimism to the whole area. So what we need to do is stay there. We need to stay there. What can you do? What can I do to help ensure that? Well, it's simple. There's only one thing. Really want to see those fingers. There's only one thing that you can do, and that is to make noise. Make a lot of noise. Make continuous noise throughout the 90 minutes of every match. It's a relatively simple but important contribution. Put it this way, if we can recreate the atmosphere we had at the Brighton match, then we'll stay up. It's as simple, yeah, it really is as simple as that. You need relatively small amount of equipment for this task. Basically, just make sure you have your lungs with you on match day and all the pipes that join them to the mouth area. And let's make noise for the full 90 minutes. Let's encourage the team and let's stay in the Premiership. And let's make a big smile across the whole of Teesside. Up the Boro, see you at the Riverside.
So 1-1 it finished. Bit of a mixed sort of outcome. Start with you, John. Boro good 45 minutes. Stoke came stronger. What happened there? Was it the Boro tiring or was it Stoke getting into it?
I don't think it was anything about tiredness. I just think Stoke were given a boat of the backside, to be honest, because we bossed the first half. They'll have got a bit of a tongue lashing off Mark Hughes, in my opinion, and they come out and were a bit more, used the quality a bit more. We worked on adrenaline first 45 minutes with a fantastic crowd behind us. They, like I say, probably got a bit of a kick in and come out and started to show the quality. They're a decent team. It was a good game. It was a fair result.
Ian, though, Stoke City at the Riverside. If we're going to survive in the Premier League, shouldn't we be beating those sort of teams?
I think longer term, yeah, but I think for the first match, they're the kind of club I think we're aiming to be at the moment. A good, solid mid-table Premiership club. Wasn't a bad result. I'm with you. I don't think we tired. I think perhaps we sat back a little bit and their quality players, Bojan, Shaqiri, sort of controlled the game second half. I'm fairly happy with the result for a first match back in the Premiership.
And you mentioned adrenaline. That's going to wear out eventually. The honeymoon period, as the media people like telling us, that comes to an end at some point, John. How important, and obviously you're part of 12th man, how important is it for the fans now to keep going with what we heard in that first 45 minutes?
Oh, it's vital because we're going to get most of our points at home, probably. And it's not going to be as easy as the Championship for obvious reasons. So therefore, the backing of the fans is more important, because we're going to come up with teams who are far better than Championship teams. We're going to come up against teams where they'll cause massive problems for us. You know, we'll probably get a good hiding a couple of games at home, but it's the Premier League. You know, you'd expect to come up with better quality opposition, but with the fans behind the team, I think we can still maintain the good record that we've had in the last 2 seasons.
You mentioned the fans behind the team. Let's get the fans' reactions after the game. Our camera, yes, our big Mark Chalico was around with the camera for, I was going to say up the Boro TV there. It shows you even I can get fooled by it. RedArmy.tv. And this is what you had to say about the game.
It was okay, first game of the season. It was good, you know. Tired legs at the end of the game, but it was enjoyable.
I thought we did well. I think it'll take a while just to get used to being in the Premiership. The refereeing was a bit different there.
First half was really, really good. Second half, I was, well, a bit my nails, ruined. Bit the skin off my nails. I think a couple of the players were outclassed, and I worry we need to make some big changes.
Thanks for the handiwork there, Mark. Right, let's have a look at the tweets, because we do read the tweets out. The ref seemed to take centre stage here. Hazel Clay, happy with that result, especially against a ref determined to see us lose. Chris, who's at Smoggy C. Smoggy Chris, I suppose. Boro looked on par with Stoke. The ref had a mare. Joe Steele, then pops up a referee not wanting to be outshone by the Boro. She does say good things about the Boro as well. And Clarkie Gaston was superb today. The ref was shocking. Ian, was he shocking?
I don't think it was good. I think there were some decisions that did go against us. Their goal played an advantage for quite a long time before pulling it back. But I think the thing we've got to get used to is the Premiership. People go near someone, they fall over, it's a free kick. We're used to tackles going in. I think people like Clayton might pick up a lot of bookings this season by sticking his foot in. It's different. And I think we haven't got used to it yet.
I mean, that's a fair point, John. Refereeing in the Championship, or the game in the Championship, chalk and cheese with refereeing in the game in the Premier League.
Yeah, well, we were a big fish in the Championship, you know. Not saying we got the rub of the green, but we're not going to get anything off the refs in the Premier League. And we are going to pick up cards. I agree with Ian, because I think Daroon will pick up more cards than Moonpig, to be honest. It's going to be...
And he got a few million in his back pocket for that.
Yeah, but it's going to be one where we use our squad because of injury suspensions. But we didn't look out of our depth. We looked fairly comfortable, and I think we're good enough, you know, to not let the referees spoil too many of the games. Kevin, not Boro's friend, didn't have his best game, but we get on with it.
Just to wrap off the looking at the game then, one of the guys who's helping us out behind the scenes at the moment, I'm sure he'll be right in front of camera as the season progresses, is Joe Nicholson. So he decided to give us a match report, as he will be doing game upon game as the Premier League season continues. Here he is.
A draw, probably a fair result. Boro probably the better team in the first half, took the lead on 9 minutes when Alvaro and Negredo put them into the lead, and Stoke didn't really do too much in that first half. Didn't really do too much to open up the Boro defence, and they looked comfortable. I took Ranker's side very well organised up until the half-time break. The only negative was the injury to Martin Daroon, who went off after about 14 minutes. But in the second half, Boro set off Stoke, didn't make too many tackles and allowed the visitors to come onto them a little bit. And from there, players like Shaqiri and Bojan really took control of the game. Stoke equalised on around 68 minutes when Shaqiri, a brilliant free kick from the Swiss international, levelled the score. And from there, it did only really look like there was going to be one winner. Boro were a bit of a threat on the counter-attack, but didn't really pose too many questions for Stoke goalkeeper Shay Given. So overall, a draw to start the new campaign, probably a fair result to get the season underway.
Okay, thanks for that, Joe. His look at the Boro against Stoke 1-1. Just to wrap it all off, the final few tweets and Facebook postings from you. Mark, brilliant today, great atmosphere, superb work rate, especially midfield. Daniel Kidd, we played class today, showed everyone we can compete up the Boro. Stephen Jackson, today showed why I'm proud to be a Smoggy, like that one. And Graham Bandera, so impressed with hashtag Boro. We're getting very social there, Graham. Stoke, well drilled, slick at times, a performance full of passion, cohesion and purpose. Friend was superb. Is this the same Graham who is behind, is it Graham Bandera who's behind the chairman's picture?
That's right, yeah. He's the illustrator, yeah. He's a very talented guy.
Well, you can tell by the way he's writing with flowery and creative words. If you're wondering what the heck we're talking about, the chairman, this man and the rest of his motley crew, which are called the 12th man, decided to pay a big tribute to the Boro chairman, Steve Gibson, of course. And we went along with the camera. Mark, our super cameraman, caught up the action down on Bedford Street in Middlesbrough.
The reason we're doing this is within the chairman. The pub was named after Steve Gibson. And I think it's fitting that we get some sort of tribute. I've been in here quite a few times, looked around, saw that there's great images of Middlesbrough, Teesside, but not one of Steve Gibson. So I had a word with Sean, the boss, and he agreed. So I got in touch with an illustrator called Graham Bandera, Middlesbrough season ticket holder, very good lad. Put the idea to him and he was fantastic. And I just think it's a fitting tribute to the best football chairman in the world. 30 years ago, 1986, he led the consortium that saved the club from extinction. Through that, from then till now, we've had some fantastic times. We owe him so much. The fans, what he does for the area, the people of Teesside. He's the greatest ambassador and the greatest Middlesbrough supporter. And what we've done is just a tiny gesture, just to say thanks very much. So I'm going to ask Mark Ellis, who's Middlesbrough Football Club Chief Operating Officer, just to unveil what we've had produced as a tribute to Steve Gibson. So, Mark, if you would.
Yeah.
There you are, the chairman. So, thanks very much for coming anyway.
So, John, that was your speech. What sort of reaction have you had? It's been a few days now. What sort of reaction have you had since?
It's been excellent, to be honest. We've had there's been loads of comments on the Evening Gazette because they put it on their Facebook page, and there was loads of comments. Majority favourable.
Yeah.
Some.
I did see one or two, but you're always going to get them.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's besides the point. But the chairman's daughter was in there on Saturday night. She wanted to go and see for herself, and she contacted me and she said it's lovely. So no doubt she'll have sent pictures to her dad, and hopefully he doesn't come in and rip it off the wall if he's disappointed with it. But I'm sure it'll be okay. But yeah, by and large, it's been very favourable, and I know Graham Bandera has received a lot of messages of support. So
I've seen some
that's
of them
good.
on social media. It's good,
I must say, and I'd like to say publicly, you know, it's a fantastic what he's done, and it's really appreciated. And he's a great guy. He never flinched, never ummed and ahed about it. He was just yes straight away. He was brilliant, and he's turned out a good picture.
He's a big Boro fan as well, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, him and his kids are always at the game. Yeah, massive Boro fan. Not in stature because he's only a small guy, but massive Boro fan, big heart.
Breathing in, as you say, massive Boro fan. Ian, from one massive Boro fan to another. You've seen the picture. What do you think? I mean, it's an illustration. That's what people have got to get their heads around, haven't they?
Yes.
I'm not a massive fan of it personally, but art's very subjective. I mean, that's one of those things. You know, you got to meme us. I can go with my wife, she goes, that's rubbish, I go, it's great, and then the next one, it's the same. So I don't think it's a dreadful thing. I think it's great that it's been done. It's not my cup.
Well, generally then.
Yeah, it's not my cup of tea. I think it's a great thing to do.
Yeah.
It's the actual picture itself's not my cup of tea. I just think it's more interesting that the guy who owns the bar is a Mackham, so
but
that's even better.
I mean, did he? Is it true? You said on the video that we saw that the pub was named after, it was the chairman.
Yeah, that's right.
Steve Gibson.
Yeah.
That's genuine.
It is, yeah. I spoke to Sean, and And he told me, you know, that they asked for suggestions for the name of the pub when they plan to open it. And he said suggestions about, like, around the Middlesbrough theme, whether it be the football or the industry or whatever. And the one that I liked the most was the chairman, after Steve Gibson. So that's the reason.
Cracking stuff. Well, I'll be going in to have 1 or 2 little drinks, and we'll see that over the next few months. So that'll be good news. Talking of news, Boro News, high time we caught up with what's happening in and around the Riverside. Here's Stephen Gosney.
Kicking off the new season of Boro News, we start with RedArmy.tv. Due to external pressures, Up the Boro TV has become RedArmy.tv. The fan show, produced by fans for the fans, remains unchanged. Still staffed by volunteer supporters, all of whom are developing new skills as they focus on one true love, the mighty Boro. New web and social media sites will follow, and if you want to get in contact, you can email us at studio@redarmy.tv. Now on to the Boro, and under-23 head coach Paul Jenkins has been purring over Colombian centre-back Bernardo Espinosa. The Gazette quoting Jenks as saying his 45 minutes against Brighton under-23s was one of the best he's seen. Meanwhile, Player of the Year Daniel Ayala also came through a half in the same game at the Riverside unscathed and is fighting for a first-team start on Sunday against the Mackhams. And finally, there's a chance the nightmare parking issues around the Riverside may be eased. Sainsbury's has revealed it's willing to take another look at opening the car park around the unopened Middlehaven store site. RedArmy.tv understands the impasse has been caused by Sainsbury's fear of being hit with huge business rates if it opened the car park. And once again, if you want to get in contact with us or with any news, views or fan rants, then please email studio@redarmy.tv.
Thanks, Stephen. Small matter now, fellas, of that long trip up the A19, Sunderland, Stadium of Light. Ian, always fills me with dread when we have North East derbies. Not that we've had many of them recently. Thankfully, we go into this one as top dog. Where's your thoughts on that one?
I think it's going to be a tight, cagey affair.
Oh, come on.
But we'll win a tight, cagey affair.
4-0.
No, I think it'll be 1-0. I think we will score quite early, and I think we will desperately hang on. And it'll be nail-biting, and we'll sit back, but I don't think they've got the quality to break us down. Just
to be the devil's advocate, I mean, we're the Championship team who's just come up into the Premier League, John. Sunderland, they've had problems, they've been scrapping for survival, but they are an established Premiership side. Should we not be concerned about going up there and getting turned over?
No, not really, no. I think, I agree with Ian. I think we can do it. I think we can nick the game. I'm a bit fearful of Defoe. I've always liked Jermaine Defoe. I think he's a great striker. We've got to watch him for every second of the game. Other than that, I think we pose more threat up front than they do. It's going to be a full house, but only 2,750 from Middlesbrough, because we had the temerity of standing up at games, believe it or not, and that's why we've had our allocation reduced. But I'm sure...
I missed that one. Is that the reason?
Yeah.
I missed it.
Yeah. Apparently, us and a fair few other clubs have had our allocation reduced this season because of persistent standing. Well, that's it, isn't it?
We're persistently infringing the laws of standing at football stadiums.
Despite there being only less than 3,000 fans in a 40-odd thousand stadium, we'll still rule it. We'll still, non-stop for 90 minutes, we'll rule that game.
Because producer Luke was heartbroken because, Dad, will you get me a ticket? And obviously we were one of the many who didn't get them. So I hope we do rule it, but thankfully it's a Premier League game and it's on the telly, so I can still see it. Where's the key going to be? What's going to be the key to our success? Is it watching Defoe, or is it midfield? Is it going to be Gaston, or is it going to be the strikers?
Well, Gaston's a very important player. Great game on Saturday against Stoke. But as we saw in that game, he's a bit of a target, that to try to stop him from playing. But we've got other players, that can open them up. We've got the two wide men, obviously Albert and Stuart Downing, possibly Victor Fisher if he starts. And we've got options. We'll do okay.
Where's the key for the Boro success for you, Ian?
I think it's the same. I think it's our attacking midfielders. I think we've got Negredo who's going to score goals for us. He'll just get on the end of stuff and score with his shoulder again. It doesn't matter what comes off. They've got Defoe, but I don't think they've got the ammunition to provide him with, whereas we have. So I think that's the key. If we can keep him out of the game,
yeah, definitely.
all right, they might be able to stick in a free kick from the edge of the box if we give one away. But I think we can create a lot more chances than they can. And I don't think their defence is that good.
Quiz question for you, pair of you, and I know you'll both know the answer. Tash, blonde wedge, Sunderland fan, massive Boro fan, played for his late 70s, early 80s. Who we're talking about?
Dave Hodgson.
Yeah, Odgie. He came into the, I was going to say up the Boro TV. It's going to take me a few weeks, I'm sorry. He came into the RedArmy.tv studios and give us a chat, because of course he is Gateshead born, Sunderland fan, massive, massive Boro fan, due to his time at Ayresome Park. Dave, late 70s, early 80s, interesting time in your life. You were well known for a raggy tash and blonde bouffant hairdos. What do you remember of that era?
To be honest with you, my football life spanned from 1976 until, well, even now in terms of still involved. That period of my life was probably the best period of my entire life in terms of, even from a social point, from a footballing point. It was like an incredible period. From 78 to maybe 82 was without doubt the best 4 years of my life.
I suppose most fans will think back to that era and think, yeah, Odgie was the lad who stood on the terraces, stood in the old gate. Yeah. What possessed you to do that? What was the reason?
I was suspended for the game, West Bromwich Albion. I'd got sent off the week previous against Man City. And at the time, there was two lads in particular, Tommy McGinn and a lad called Spanky. And I knew them really well. Good lads, just ordinary lads from the street. They weren't, from the football world or anything. And I said I would join them in the Holgate. And I think they were a bit, no chance Hodgie wouldn't come. And I did. And I actually was the only person to stand the Holgate end and sing a Sunderland song and not get clipped for it, which I did, just for the fun of it, But it was great. Listen, I'm an ordinary kid. I come from Gateshead. I've been a football fan all my life. I come from the street, to say. So being in there wasn't anything like different to me, but maybe from a footballing side, why would a player go and stand in the terraces? Well, for me, it was just normal practice. But it was where I wanted to be on that particular day, especially when we won. It was fantastic.
Let's come to the present day, the Boro back in the Premier League. Reactions first to see them back there.
Oh, listen, again, Steve Gibson, and I know the guy, I know the chairman obviously, but I don't know him well at all, okay? When we got beat at Wembley, and when the Boro got beat at Wembley, all I could think about was him. Only because I know about football, I've managed, I know what it's like to be involved in a football club where everything's counting on something. And I thought, oh my God, how they're going to get next season recover from this and get up, because it can have an adverse effect on you. So I thought only of him. And then when they got promoted, I thought of him again. But then, of course, then the town benefits from it, because the amount of revenue that's generated with the Premier League coming in, the fans coming to Middlesbrough for the match days and so all of that then, is very, very, very important. But my first thought at Wembley was Steve Gibson, and then thereafter Steve Gibson. So, but for the club, it's fantastic. It's where you need to be.
Got to ask you about the game coming, Sunderland.
Yes.
Because you were a Sunderland fan. I
don't
know if you still are a Sunderland fan.
No.
Where do you stand now?
Where do I stand now? It's pretty sad, and the fact is I grew up in Gateshead, supported Sunderland all my life. I supported Sunderland, and John Codden, who was the coach at the Boro, grabbed me by the throat and threatened to break my jaw if you ever heard me whisper Sunderland Football Club in the Ayresome ground again. So at that point, I became Boro. Then I ended up loving the Boro, and it meant more to me than anything else. But then you also know that I spent 10 years flogging myself to death on behalf of Darton Football Club. So that took over the Boro and it took over Sunderland. But now I'm away from that. I don't really have one specific love, but the three fixtures I always look for is Boro, Sunderland and Darton.
And now Boro and Sunderland go head to head.
Yeah.
The Stadium of the Light at the weekend. What do you think? What's your prediction?
Difficult one. One, I'm not too sure if either side have signed enough quality to be able to say comfortably they will remain in the Premier League, okay?
Davy Moyes has gone for lads he knows from Man U, but he's gone for lads who don't have a great deal of experience. So at the moment, they won't have settled in. The club, he's still in a transition period of trying to get them to buy into his system and his ways, etc. Where the Boro, they're ahead of them on that front. It's a derby game, so things go out the window. If I was a betting man, and I'm not, and I probably could get hung from either side here, I'd probably say the Boro might nick it. That's my gut feeling right now, only because of the stability which is in Boro, as opposed to the transition which now Sunderland are having to go through. So there you go.
Interesting one for me, John, is he mentions a couple of lads there, and when he mentions them by name, you nodded. You obviously remember him standing on. I was only about 10 feet away from him at the time. I was as young as you were then. Yeah, you know these lads. You're well aware of the story.
Yeah, Tommy McGinn, know him very well. Currently living in Spain, but still gets over to watch quite a few Boro games. And Spanky, Spanky's a very colourful character. He's
there's a story, obviously.
There's plenty. But no, he's old school Boro lad.
Yeah. Ian, Odgie, what do you remember of him?
I just remember it was a great team where you thought Boro were going to go somewhere, and we didn't. And I was at that away Wolves match that we had a chat about earlier.
Yeah.
Long journey home, and it was sort of the end of an era, really, where we went. Well, it was the start of a massive decline of the club at the time. Heartbreaking times from. You probably in some ways you think it's going to be like the McLaren era was, that we're actually going to do something in that league. We're going to get into Europe.
You think, if we'd have had Steve Gibson in charge of that team, we'd have just gone on, wouldn't we?
I think so, yeah.
Improved, but unfortunately we didn't. Yeah. And you're right, it was like 3 or 4 years malaise, and it ended up in '86.
It did, yeah.
We all know what happened.
Yeah. You mentioned the game, the Wolves game. It was an FA Cup 6th round quarter-final replay at Molineux. We were the same year at ICI, weren't we?
We were, yeah.
And we both nicked out to go there, didn't we?
Yeah.
And did you get into trouble like I did?
No.
You got away with it. I got absolutely railroaded.
I was ill.
So was I, funnily enough. A lot of us were ill. Odgie went on to Liverpool. He did well there. I mean, he picked up League Cup, European Cup, league titles, all that sort of stuff. So it was good to see him. He came back to Boro, didn't he? But it just didn't happen then at the end of his career.
That's right, not really.
Yeah.
He had to spell at Norwich as well, didn't he? After that, he'll be remembered for those years in the late '70s, early '80s. Where he was lightning quick, great forward.
Yeah, he was. Didn't score a lot of goals, but he said, he openly admits he wasn't a goal scorer. He wasn't a Bernie Slave, and he was more of a provider for others. But it was good to see him. Good to catch up with you, Odge, and we're going to continue doing that on RedArmy.tv. Predictions, fellas. I mean, Odgie said Boro's going to shake it, is going to sneak it. You're the same opinion?
I'm the same, yeah. We'll sneak Saturday, I think.
I think
it's under even.
Sunday even.
I think it'll be a Boro win. I'd like to see it being comfortable 2-0 or something, but a Boro win, that'll do me. Make everybody happy.
Thanks for coming in. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for the invite.
Pleasure.
Fingers crossed for a Boro victory. It'll be nice to get that first one under our belt of the new Premier League season against those northeast rivals of ours. And we'll catch you next week right here on RedArmy.tv. Catch you then.
Stand the whole get end and sing a Sunderland song and not get clipped for it, which I did, just for the fun of it,
Today I think the score's going to be 2-0. Mortimer, up the Boro.
Come on, Boro, we can beat these Saturday.
Come on, lads, believe, come on!